Now, what was significant about that?
I knew that Jay shot.
On April 1st, 2025, what began as an ordinary court hearing in an Atlanta courtroom quickly spiraled into a momentous event that could have far-reaching consequences for the hip-hop world. During proceedings concerning the notorious Goodfellas gang case, Marisa Vivero, the Atlanta Police Department's lead investigator in gang activity, took the stand. Her testimony, however, wasn't just another procedural update. It contained a bombshell revelation that immediately rattled the legal community. The Vivero's testimony brought to light a significant figure tied to Lil Baby's alleged criminal operations, an individual named Jay Shot, or John Smith. This man, as per the court proceedings, was allegedly acting as Lil Baby's enforcer, a critical player within the 4PF organization, which the rapper is said to lead. The details that emerged during this hearing cast a dark shadow over Lil Baby's public persona, painting a troubling picture of his involvement in the activities of the group. What truly sent shockwaves through the courtroom wasn't just the revelation of Jay Shot's connection to Lil Baby, it was how Vivero came to possess this incriminating information. The methods by which these key details were uncovered raised eyebrows across the board. The once private world of the 4PF organization was now exposed under the weight of legal scrutiny, and the ramifications of these revelations could change the trajectory of the case and potentially Lil Baby's future forever. As Vivero outlined Jay Shot's role in the criminal network, it became clear that the links between the rapper and the alleged criminal activities were far from incidental. This testimony only deepens the mystery surrounding Lil Baby's involvement with figures linked to dangerous street operations, leaving the courtroom and the public on edge, waiting for the next chapter of this unfolding saga. The significance of this revelation goes beyond just the fact that Shot, also known as John Smith, was a close associate of Dominique Lil Baby Jones, the leader of the 4PF organization. The Vivero's testimony didn't just highlight their relationship, it specifically identified Shot as a key figure with direct and crucial ties to Lil Baby himself. This wasn't a casual affiliation. Shot was deeply embedded in the operations, playing a pivotal role in the group's activities. What truly made this piece of evidence so powerful was the nature of the communication that had been uncovered. The court presented a photo of Shot, one he had taken of himself and then marked with his alias Shot. The photo was sent through a disappearing message service, a feature designed to make messages vanish after a short time. Normally, such communications would be lost forever. However, in a surprising twist, this message had been recovered. The fact that this ephemeral, self-deleting communication had been retrieved was what made it particularly incriminating. As one legal commentator pointed out, this wasn't just a fluke. The message had been captured from what was supposed to be an impervious system of deletion, making the evidence not only surprising, but deeply significant. The recovery of this kind of message added an unexpected layer to the case, underscoring the gravity of Shot's connections to Lil Baby and the activities tied to the 4PF organization.
Now, what was significant about that?
I knew that Jay Shot was.
The testimony took a shocking turn when investigators not only confirmed Shot's connection to Lil Baby, but also presented evidence suggesting that Shot played a more dangerous role as an enforcer for the 4PF organization. What followed was a powerful moment in the court proceedings, the introduction of actual footage from a music video that linked Shot to violent incidents allegedly tied to the group's operations. The video in question was titled "Who Want Problems," and it was found on Shot's own YouTube account. During the trial, investigators sought permission to show a brief clip from this video, which the court granted. As the video played, it became clear that the connection between Shot and violence was not just implied, but visually confirmed. What made the video so crucial to the case was its direct link to a location notorious for violent incidents. The court identified specific shots in the video that were filmed at a location on 1043 Spark Street, an area with a known history of violent events allegedly connected to the 4PF organization. This location wasn't just a random backdrop, it was a central piece of the case that directly tied Schott to real-world violence, adding another layer of depth to the investigation. The impact of Who Want Problems was significant. What might have initially appeared as a typical music video now took on a much darker meaning, especially when viewed in the context of the testimony about Schott's role in the alleged criminal activities. The video, once a promotional tool, now seemed to serve as a visual confession, pointing to the very locations where violence had unfolded. This new information changed the narrative and further linked Schott, and by extension, Lil Baby, to the dangerous operations allegedly taking place under the 4PF banner. The courtroom drama took another shocking turn when investigators revealed key evidence tying Jay Schott directly to violent incidents connected to the 4PF organization. In a crucial moment, a specific location flashed on the screen, 1043 Spark Street, linking Jay Schott to a known crime scene, providing a clear geographic and visual connection between the music video Who Want Problems and real-life violence. This geographic correlation was pivotal in showing how Jay Schott was not just part of the 4PF crew, but also allegedly involved in carrying out violent acts tied to that very area. However, the most explosive revelation came when wiretap evidence was presented, capturing conversations that openly discussed Schott's alleged role in carrying out violence on behalf of the 4PF. These intercepted communications made it clear that the term tickets was used, a slang term in gang culture meaning a price on someone's head, a bounty. When asked for clarification, Detective Vivavarito explained that tickets referred to orders for violence, where individuals were targeted for arrest, harm, or even death. The testimony became even more damaging when it was revealed that these tickets were allegedly being authorized by none other than Lil Baby himself. The wiretap revealed that those involved were discussing how Dominique Jones, aka Lil Baby, had put out tickets on multiple individuals. The conversation implied that Lil Baby had ordered harm on people, adding a terrifying new layer to his connection with the violence surrounding the 4PF organization. This new evidence painted a devastating picture for Lil Baby and his defense team. The notion of tickets or bounties tied directly to his name marked a significant escalation in the case, making it much harder to dismiss the allegations as mere rumors. For a rapper who had previously denied these claims on social media, calling them fake news, this testimony introduced hard, tangible evidence that connected him to real-world violence, something that could not be easily brushed aside. As the case continued to unfold, the significance of Schott's role as an enforcer in the 4PF organization became impossible to ignore. This was the kind of evidence prosecutors had hoped for when building their case, offering a clear link between Lil Baby and the violent actions allegedly carried out under his direction. The implications were grave, not just for Lil Baby's legal future, but for his entire career, as the evidence against him began to pile up, casting a long shadow over his image and his music empire.
Brief interruption. Being a criminal is so difficult, bruh. And I hope all you criminals and street dudes is listening, bruh. She just said that they...
The situation Lil Baby finds himself in has taken a deeply troubling turn with the emergence of Schott's alleged role as an enforcer for the 4PF organization. As the supposed leader of the group, any violence attributed to Jay Schott could now be seen as connected to Lil Baby, which only strengthens the case that prosecutors are building for racketeering. This new evidence, revealing Schott's involvement and his links to Lil Baby, forms the most substantial foundation for a RICO charge that authorities have pursued. According to reports, the Georgia Public Defender's Council, which handles gang cases for individuals unable to afford private attorneys, has indicated they are preparing for potential racketeering indictments related to the 4PF and OMF groups. This statement suggests that legal action is imminent, with Lil Baby expected to be indicted alongside others, reinforcing the idea that charges are on the horizon. The extensive and varied evidence trail connecting J-Shot to violent acts paints a grim picture for the 4PF organization and its alleged leader. Court testimony has highlighted his presence at critical locations where violent crimes took place, with surveillance footage and his own social media documenting his movements. Shot's Instagram photos and videos not only show him with Lil Baby, but also place him at the sites where violence occurred, including the location of a homicide. Furthermore, he is even seen filming a music video in one of these areas, reinforcing the connection between the organization's activities and the violence being investigated. This digital trail, a mix of photos, videos, and testimony, positions J-Shot at the heart of the criminal actions authorities are scrutinizing. The music video he participated in adds a layer of complication, as it places him at specific crime scenes and links him to the violence in a very public, undeniable way. Prosecutors are using this evidence to build their case that J-Shot was not just a bystander, but an active participant in orchestrating violence on behalf of the 4PF organization. As the investigation deepens, this new wave of evidence is becoming harder for Lil Baby and his team to dismiss. With Shot's involvement now clearly documented, the case against the rapper is growing stronger, and it's clear that the legal spotlight on him is becoming impossible to avoid. What started as a murmur of rumors is now emerging as a significant legal challenge that could potentially alter the course of Lil Baby's career and future. The significance of this new evidence lies in the suggestion of premeditation. J-Shot wasn't merely at these locations by chance. He intentionally created content there, an act that prosecutors may frame as provocative or even threatening. The title of the music video, "Who Want Problems?" could easily be seen as a direct challenge or warning to adversaries. This goes beyond Shot's mere presence. His actions could be interpreted as an invitation to conflict. Moreover, the investigators presented recovered communications showing that J-Shot used disappearing message features, a technological choice that could imply an effort to conceal his involvement in illicit activities. Prosecutors may argue that this use of technology reveals Shot's awareness of his potential criminal actions and a conscious effort to cover up any wrongdoing. For Lil Baby, the exposure of Shot's alleged involvement in criminal activities presents a major legal obstacle, primarily due to the nature of RICO, racketeer-influenced and corrupt organizations, cases. Under RICO laws, leaders of criminal organizations can be held accountable for the actions of their members, even if those leaders did not directly participate in the crimes in question. In this case, the prosecutors are attempting to tie Lil Baby to the violent activities attributed to J-Shot, portraying him as the head of the 4PF organization. The law allows authorities to prosecute not only those who commit criminal acts, but also those who manage or direct others to commit such acts. This revelation creates a legal nightmare for Lil Baby, as the focus shifts to his leadership role within the organization. If prosecutors can demonstrate that Shot's actions were carried out in furtherance of the 4PF, they could potentially hold Lil Baby responsible, regardless of whether he was physically present or directly involved in the violent acts. As the case unfolds, the intricate legal theories behind RICO charges could make it difficult for Lil Baby to distance himself from the activities of his associates, deepening the legal and personal crisis he now faces.
The music video, is that something that you've seen?
It is.
Where'd you see it?
I believe it was on the YouTube account.
Behind the scenes, Lil Baby appears to be making concerted efforts to distance himself from both J-Shot and the 4PF label, which has now become a focal point of the investigation. His decision to rebrand 4PF as Glass Window Entertainment in December 2024 is now viewed as a calculated attempt to separate his legitimate business ventures from a name that is increasingly associated with alleged criminal activity linked to J-Shot. In a new development, Fox 5 Atlanta has uncovered an arrest warrant that ties Lil Baby, whose real name is Dominique Jones, to the ongoing investigations. The warrant, which had previously been referenced in a press conference, connects him directly to the case authorities are calling a gang war that has allegedly resulted in multiple fatalities. The arrest warrant further complicates Lil Baby's position, solidifying his connection to the criminal activities being investigated. As more details emerge, it's becoming clear that the stakes for the rapper are rapidly escalating. Authorities have now explicitly identified 4PF, for Pockets Full, Lil Baby's former label and crew, as a key player in the ongoing gang rivalry that's under investigation. This is a significant development, especially considering Lil Baby's decision to rebrand the label as Glass Window Entertainment in 2024. His move to distance himself from 4PF could be seen as an attempt to shield his legitimate business from the increasingly troubling associations with criminal activity, particularly in light of Shot's alleged violent involvement. The evidence linking Lil Baby and J-Shot is stacking up against him in an almost irrefutable way. With visual documentation, from photos and music videos to messages recovered from wiretaps, the connection between the two is becoming more than just circumstantial. It's solid and undeniable. The wiretap evidence, which allegedly captures conversations about bounties or tickets placed by Lil Baby, further strengthens the case, turning it from mere association into direct involvement. Legal experts suggest that authorities are preparing for significant developments in the case. The Georgia Public Defender's Council, which manages cases for those who cannot afford private attorneys, has indicated that they are actively preparing for racketeering charges related to 4PF and its alleged ties to organized crime. This suggests that indictments against Lil Baby, possibly including his associates like J-Shot, are imminent. If Lil Baby is charged and convicted in connection with Shot's alleged activities, the consequences could be severe. RICO convictions typically carry decades-long sentences, and with the added factor of violence, including the tragic deaths of children, any conviction could mean the end of not only his career, but his freedom. One industry observer bluntly stated that the gravity of Lil Baby's legal peril is clear. His options are quickly dwindling. The revelations about Shot's alleged involvement have brought Lil Baby to a dangerous crossroads. If the rapper is linked to the violence and criminal activities tied to J-Shot, as some speculate, the consequences could be devastating. As one person bluntly put it, if you're in this, it's over. If you're snitching, it's done. The severity of the situation seems so extreme that some have humorously suggested that Lil Baby should consider relocating to a country with no extradition agreements, like certain parts of Africa or China, just to escape the looming legal storm. While this idea of fleeing is unlikely to be part of Lil Baby's actual strategy, it does highlight the gravity of his legal trouble. The J-Shot evidence is forcing a deeper reflection on the culture of documentation in the hip-hop industry. As one analyst pointed out, modern technology makes being involved in crime more challenging than ever. Social media platforms like Snapchat and Instagram, which many believe offer privacy with disappearing messages, are actually not foolproof at all. Investigators have proven that messages thought to be erased can still be recovered, and this kind of digital self-snitching can be used as evidence in court. The J-Shot case is a prime example of how hip-hop culture's emphasis on documenting everything, whether through photos, music videos, or behind-the-scenes footage, can leave artists vulnerable to criminal charges if their personal lives intersect with alleged criminal activity. In the aftermath of these revelations, some within the Atlanta music scene have shared their concerns. There's a sense that law enforcement may be unfairly targeting successful rappers, which makes some in the industry wary about staying in their hometown. The feeling is that while many might be doing their best to stay out of trouble, they could be unfairly swept up in a broader crackdown on hip-hop. However, the evidence in the J-Shot case is difficult to dismiss as mere targeting. The connections between Lil Baby and violence are well documented, and the evidence linking them doesn't feel speculative. It's solid and potentially damning. If formal charges are filed, Lil Baby will face a choice between two grim options. He could fight the charges, knowing that the evidence against him is formidable and that his case could take years to resolve, as seen with other artists like Young Thug. Alternatively, he might consider cooperating with authorities, but this would come at the cost of his street credibility and still could result in a lengthy prison sentence. Either path would be a devastating blow to his career and personal life.